All right, and welcome back here to the AM Drive on this Monday morning edition, this post-draft edition here, and we are presented by Sling TV. You can see it right above my head, right there.
Nice
You got to go to Mike and
watch.
Aaron Drive, which you got to go to mikeandaarondrive.com, which is right above Mike's head there. And when you do go to Mike and Aaron Drive, check out the site first and foremost. The link tree is awesome. You can get all the sponsors, but for this read specifically, you want to go to Sling TV. It's affordable, it's simple, it's flexible. It takes out all the channels you don't watch. It gets you a basic package that you want: live sports, hit shows, breaking news, etc. And you can actually get $10 off your first month, but you can't get it unless you go to mikeandaarondrive.com and click that Sling TV logo so you can become a slinger just like Mike today.
Slinger. I do love the watch.
The watch? This one?
The ice. Yes, sir.
The ice.
You're right. So
that's my sauce. I'm Sauce Gardner.
You're ready to go. Sauce Crouch. Okay. Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from Georgia, fell pretty fast and lasted till the third round.
Mm-hmm.
There was a big reason for that.
Okay.
Supposedly, Nakobe Dean had a bunch of pec issue. He had a pec issue he had to have surgery on, but he denied the surgery. Then he had a meniscus problem. There's injury after injury. There were reports coming out. But then he said that was the nerve-wracking part about it, the whole thing when you talk about falling. Listening to things that are not true has costed me a lot of money. Howie Roseman then says he fully expects Nakobe Dean is healthy, and he's so healthy he'll be at mini camps next week. So obviously, someone's lying.
Right.
And Eagles are obviously buying that the reporters are lying and not Nakobe Dean. And they obviously might know a little bit more than those reporters. This was an interesting story. I know all my Georgia friends who obviously live here and watch Nakobe Dean were like, why is this guy falling? When I read those injury reports, and then I realized Chris Mortensen didn't really say it, but Twitter was all over it. This was a weird story, man.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of nailed it on the head. Who's lying, and why are we doing this now? You know, you kind of wonder almost to the point: are we at the point of society where teams are leaking out false information on purpose? You know, like, okay, did the Eagles maybe have team doctors leak information through, you know, I don't know if anonymous sources would be the right word here, but, you know, secretive sources to have guys like this fall in the draft. And you're right. On one hand, it kind of sucks because you are playing with people's livelihood. I get that. Right. But on the other hand, I mean, this is a business. You want to do everything you can strategically to get yourself in the most advantageous position. And, you know, Nakobe Dean, obviously we know he's the best linebacker on the Georgia roster. He was one of the players drafted. I mean, they had what 7 guys on that defense, but 7 on the defense, right?
Yeah,
7 or 8 on the defense.
You're right.
But you know, whatever it was an incredible number, almost beat the record. You know, Nakobe just has to come out and prove everybody wrong. And I know that might take 4 years for him to get a deal, but you know, now he's he's in a good situation. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and you know, the team gave everything to Jalen Hurts this year, including pieces on defense.
Yeah, and by the way, Roseman said he has a pec injury that does not require surgery. And that was like the big thing, was that Nakobe Dean had denied surgery that he needed and just denied it. Whoa!
And that's the thing. It's like, who's leaking this? So if you're leaking this to have Nakobe Dean, let's be honest. We probably believe he's a first round or late, you know, a mid to late first round, early second round pick. So anybody who's leaking this information had plenty of chances to draft this guy. I mean, you had the first round, you had the second round, you had, what did Nakobe go, middle of the third?
No, 80-something.
Okay, so 30, 60, yeah, middle of the third, middle to late part of the third. So every team had a chance to draft him or trade up and get him, except for maybe the Raiders. And actually, I think the Raiders probably still had a chance too. So, yeah, you're right. Who's leaking this information and why? What purpose does it serve to do what they did? You know, I don't know. I feel bad for Nakobe Dean, but I mean, I just don't understand if he's absolutely unwilling to get surgery on this. It does seem like it could be a character issue, but I mean, if this surgery still puts him on pace to start the season, I don't see the problem. So it's a strange one to me.
I'm just happy that he did get drafted in the third round because that's still decent money, I would assume, but it's definitely not the first round. I mean, good Lord, those guys get paid. So it's rough.
I don't know what the drop offs are, but I think first 2-round pick, first and second round picks make pretty good money. And then I think there is a pretty steep drop off from there.
Fair enough. Speaking of falling, Matt Corral reportedly was going to go earlier, and this is according to the Panthers, who drafted him in the third round, I believe.
Yes.
But Matt Corral, who I believe, I've said what's scary about him is that he's a lightning quick release. And that's like, to me, like you can't, that's one of the things like mechanics wise teams love.
Right.
Get the ball out quickly. Oh, come on. And he's mobile. But Matt Corral apparently had alcohol concerns. They also mentioned depression, which I was not a fan of. Like, you wouldn't draft the guy because he's sad sometimes. That was kind of weird. But alcohol thing I completely get. I don't want to hop on the depression thing, but if it's like he had like some off the field issues, which I had never heard of. I know he was like he seemed like kind of like a cocky, gamer kind of guy. I never heard the Johnny Manziel stuff that apparently problems he might have.
So it's hard to really, and again, I mean, I don't know. It's college. To say that there's an alcoholic problem there, is probably hard to decipher because it's college. You could probably do a case study on me and argue I was an alcoholic in college.
Oh,
I mean, socially, whatever. I mean, are we looking at a spot here where, he's a kid, he'll probably grow out of it. I think so. Now, the depression thing can be a problem for teams. Depression leads to lack of, effort, lack of, ability to want to do things. I mean, people have gone through depression and you're just your energy levels and those things, it may not get to the extreme point of like missing a game, but it may get to an extreme point that, your drive is not like the next guy. A guy with depression is not going to have the same drive as a guy like Tom Brady does, where you go to work every day and you want to beat the living hell out of whoever's across the line from you. So I can understand why that's a red flag of sorts for teams. But in the third round or beyond, you take a flyer on him. But I mean, you take a flyer on him, you see what happens. If he ends up failing, you can either dump him quickly or you didn't spend a lot of money on him. I mean, like, look at these situations with Trubisky and Baker Mayfield and, the list goes on with these first round quarterbacks that have these fifth-year options that they've got to figure out. Kyler Murray's another one, not anymore, but he was. You're talking about $20 to $25 million fifth-year options. That's different than a guy whose fifth-year option might be 8. I mean, look at Dak Prescott. The reason he wanted to get paid was because when his fifth-year option came around, it wasn't much, and I think he was a 4th or 5th round pick.
He was 4th round, yeah.
Let's be honest. We don't know who we're drafting 4 years down the line. I mean, do you think the Patriots really thought they were going to draft a murderer in Aaron Hernandez? No, but things happen,
But they also drafted the GOAT and Tom Brady. Well,
they got him in the 6th. So
right.
I love that you said GOAT.
Yeah, you're funny. So wide receiver Justyn Ross went undrafted. Speaking of injury concerns, he was considered a first round talent, even a top 10 pick in 2020 by some mock drafts that are way too early. And last year, for a team that I could argue didn't really have a quarterback even, in DJ Ugolo, whatever, 46 catches, 500 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And I'm like, someone might really, I heard the Eagles because of the, I heard the Eagles might be in play. T. Higgins on the Bengals might be in play. And there was another team, I believe. Trevor Lawrence with the Jaguars.
Anybody with a Clemson alumni, yeah.
Right. Hey.
I mean, his best years were with Clemson. It wouldn't shock me if they paired him up with Christian Kirk and Travis Etienne, who's another Clemson product.
Who hasn't even started yet.
If things can click in Jacksonville between Kirk, Etienne, and Lawrence, if they can take a step, be careful, Indianapolis.
You know what?
But,
right.
Yeah, it's shocking to see that because you're right. I mean, what he did with a competent quarterback in Trevor Lawrence, he was, to me, one of the best wide receivers who would have come out last year and probably should have been drafted this year. But for him to slip all the way to undrafted was absolutely insane to me. And somebody's going to be getting a pretty good product. Unless there's something we don't know about, I'm shocked he did not get drafted.
I'm okay with a 7th rounder on this guy. So that was weird. They took Brock Purdy as Mr. Relevant, by the way.
Yeah, which is crazy because I think he was a Heisman finalist like 2 years ago.
Yep, Captain Lou brought that to mind. I was like, oh wow, that is true. I mean, I looked at his tape, wasn't impressed with it, but he got drafted, so more power to him. Sam Howell to Washington in the 5th round was interesting. Because, I mean, that's like a Carson Wentz guy, a guy who has no concern for his body. Maybe.
Well, I've said this, and I'll continue to say it, and Bill Belichick used to do it. I don't know why he stopped doing it. You should take a quarterback every year. Every year in the draft, you should take
Billy Zappi.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they did take one this year, but it had been a few years since they had taken one.
Right.
You should take a quarterback every year. Every year, I don't care if it's your 1st round pick or your 7th round pick. You should take a quarterback because you never know who's going to hit. And if they don't hit, who gives a crap?
And who knows if some guy from Michigan's going to hit? But we have no idea.
Yeah, you need a guy from Michigan or a guy from Eastern Washington, Jimmy Garoppolo, or
Maybe
a guy
from
from
Southeastern Louisiana like Cole Kelly. 6'7", by the way.
Yeah, your boy Carson Strong went undrafted as well.
We went to the Eagles.
But he was undrafted.
I'm okay with that. Can you imagine it? So Gardner Minshew might end up being a career backup, even though I love Cashew. Jalen Hurts, who they don't even like. Carson Strong can be a starter in 2 years. That's not even a stretch.
For a team that allegedly doesn't like Jalen Hurts, they are doing a lot to put him in the best position to win. So I don't know where this narrative that they don't like Jalen Hurts. They may not. I don't know. But
how do you not like the guy? Like, I'm a person who don't even like Alabama. I grew to like the kid.
It's not even a personal thing. I think he was a fine quarterback for what they had last year.
Didn't they make the playoffs? Oh yeah, they did.
They did make the playoffs. They got bounced in the 1st round, but they made the playoffs.
Fair enough. Any last words on anything in the draft, before you go?
I will tell you this. Just from all the things I heard, the draft was here right down the street, and I guess I really didn't miss anything. It was a very boring experience from a lot of people's testimonies that I heard. And, other than the Ice Cube concert, they said that honestly, it was just it's a really boring experience. And I've gone to a draft before, and I went to the draft back in the day when it was at Radio City, and they were taking 15 minutes to do picks. And, you're 6 hours into the day and they're on like pick 14. You're like, what in the hell's going on? But, that's my draft opinion. I'm kind of feel like I didn't miss anything by not being able to attend this weekend.
You see, they started the 2nd round, right? With that dude, that Chris Angel dude or whatever.
I did not. I actually
Twitter thought that was as stupid as I thought it was.
I didn't watch a lick of draft coverage either. I mean, it was on where here at work, but I didn't watch a lick of draft coverage.
So made a good point. NBA playoffs was on, and people were watching the NFL draft. That's when I was like, whoa, what am I doing here? So I switched right over to the NBA playoffs because I wasn't missing anything.
The NFL is king, and it's quite crazy how, standing around watching a bunch of people walk up on the stage, I lied. I did catch in the 5th round. I think the Bills took nobody from Nowheresville, and the Bills Mafia just went absolutely insane. I'm like, you know what? Good for you, because, I'd have been out of there.
Right. Oh, yeah, let's go. I like these the Commanders people were wearing the hog stuff. That was funny.
Yeah,
I just realized how much of a loss that was that they came to the Hogs. I thought the Eagles were awesome.